Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update brought to you by KrakenCryptocurrency.com. Today is April 11th, 2022, a fine Monday, a beautiful day out here in sunny Colorado. Hopefully everybody is doing absolutely fantastic wherever you are in the world and however you happen to be watching today's live stream, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Twitch, D Live, Twitter, Trovo, Facebook Live. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that is the compendium. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We've got a good show for you guys today. In today's episode, we are going to be doing weekly trade setup market scans. So the weekly candle closed yesterday on Sunday. So what I like to do on Mondays, in addition to Money Mondays, where I will always make an investment into the cryptocurrency markets for my long-term portfolio, just dollar cost averaging into projects that I feel have value and that will continue to perform well and survive the bear market and do well in the next bull market. In addition to that, I also like to scan for weekly setups. Now, typically, I'm looking for one of two types of trades on the weekly time frame. I'm looking for big weekly breakouts. This is going to be a trading strategy, a trend following, trend initiation strategy right in line with pathways to profit, but simply applied to the weekly time frame where we're looking for bigger, longer, more sustained positional trade setups, where we're looking for price to break across baselines or moving averages, where we're looking for momentum to be shifting to the upside or downside, where we're just looking for all of our indicators to line up and give us an objective signal that, hey, we should be looking at this asset or we should be long or short on this asset. In addition to that, I do like to look at my bottom feeder indicator strategy as well as time transformation. These are both premium indicators available to all our subscribers. And what they do is they help me detect when oversold conditions are present in the market. And I like to look for when oversold conditions are present and then price seems to recover from that. Our indicators give us good indications of that. Bottom feeder is very early, and it indicates just when price is oversold to a statistical threshold where buying here does make sense based on past performance of the strategy. Time transformation, on the other hand, does wait. Time transformation, on the other hand, does wait for price to be oversold and then show some upwards momentum. So that's another positive sign. Again, we won't get in as early if we go with the bottom feeder. However, we have some confirmation that the market has begun to move up after reaching an oversold threshold, and we can expect some follow through from that. All right, so those are the trade setups we're going to be looking for today on Monday. We're also going to be breaking down in general where the market's at, where we feel it's going to go over the next week, and what kind of week we can expect in cryptocurrency. Before we begin, this would not be possible without either the premium subscribers or the general subscribers supporting us on YouTube and across the social media. So if you want to join the community, make sure to jump in the Discord. The link is in the description down below. And of course, smashing the like and giving us a subscription, whatever platform you're on, retweeting, liking the tweet, highly appreciated, and it lets us continue making good content and knows that we're doing good work. As always, if you guys have any questions or chart requests, throw them in the chat section and we will get to them as soon as possible. With that out of the way, let's get into the markets and let's make some money today, guys. All right, here we are in the live scene. I have moved myself up. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to move myself down. All right, I did move myself up, but for the purposes of the weekly setups, I think I'm going to move myself back down into the lower left. All right. With that minor stream trivia out of the way, quick shout out to Jordan Stotts, first in the door, Mr. Ether, Robert Warner. Good to see you, my friend. We've got Rob Taylor, Chris Hinshaw, Dan, and Yusuf. Good to see you, my friend. Discovered you the other day, but really liking the content you're putting out. Thank you very much, sir. I do my best. All right, let's get into it. So here we are on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. We're going to start with the big daddy of them all, move down to Ethereum, go through the large caps, into the medium caps, and then see if there's any low cap altcoin gems we might potentially be interested in accumulating positions in for the long term. All right, so we're going to keep things very simple here. For indicators, we're simply going to be using, let's actually get Bybit liquidations off there. We don't need that. For indicators, we're simply going to be using time transformation as displayed on the screen. Minx, if necessary. We won't really be concerning ourselves with WADA Atar explosion unless we happen to find some trend initiation setups that we're really interested in here. We will also have our baseline on here and bottom feeder activated. So we will have bottom feeder activated. We will have the baseline on as well. Actually, you know what we're going to do? Instead of using the baseline here, we're actually going to be using our CC EMAs. Now, this is a free indicator, and this is going to help us find potential areas of support and resistance and also just see where overall momentum in the market is. Now, normally we start off the show with this big, long analysis of Bitcoin. We're just going to do it quite briefly here. As we can see, bottom feeder has a fantastic track record on the daily time frame and on the weekly as well, played out. Recently, though, we've gotten this signal right here. Bottom feeder is interesting. We moved up, and then there are 9 algorithms working in sync with bottom feeder. And just sometimes we're going to get it wrong. So it does seem like this one got it wrong. Bottom feeder did activate for a 2% risk weekly trade right here, looking for those price targets of 52,289, right in line with my discretionary targets of 52 to 59,000 on this subsequent move. But as we can see, Bitcoin after that weekly doji candle put in a nice bearish engulfing weekly candle right here, and we're currently trading down lower than that. We now have lost the weekly 55, the weekly 21, 13, and the 8. Of course, we do have our current level of support down here in the form of the 100. I'm really not expecting Bitcoin to chunk all the way down. Of course, if you guys have been following the show, you will know that my overall analysis is that yes, we will eventually end up down here in the $25,000 to $21,000 area. So if you're looking for a long-term positional trade, there's absolutely no harm in hedging here and protecting yourselves from that downside. If you want to stay more cryptocurrency centric as well, moving into stablecoins and taking advantage of all the stablecoin farming opportunities that are now available in the cryptocurrency system is also a fantastic choice. I am utilizing ANKR protocol to earn APY on my UST. I'm also using Curve to earn I'm also using Curve's 3 pool to earn APY on my DAI and USDC as well. So, and then of course, right now I'm currently in Tether on my primary trading platform, Bybit, where I'm trading the USDT perpetual contracts for daily time frame trades and any lower time frame trades that I happen to come across. But that's I think that's the way. Remember that when we're in a bear market, you always want to be you always want to have some liquidity in stable coins as well, even if you're a long-term holder and if you're comfortable with the volatility of the cryptocurrency markets, you're okay with sitting through 50% or 80% correction drawdowns. And now that might sound insane to you, but if you've been in the space for a while, you've known that if you just simply hold and you just gut out these 80% correction downsides, then your strategy becomes very simple. Right? Your strategy becomes very simple. The more trades you put on, the more positions you have to manage, the more assets in your portfolio, the more complicated and sophisticated your investment and trading strategy has to become. This is why buying and holding and dollar cost averaging can be very attractive to the average investor because it's very simple, it's very low maintenance. There's not a lot of ways for you to screw it up. All you simply have to do is identify assets that you have faith in, that you believe in for the long term, and then you simply dollar cost average to them on your, on your monthly or biweekly paycheck or weekly paycheck or whenever you have excess funds available to allocate into your investments, and then you just simply hold. It's a very simple strategy, and it's actually the biggest part of my long-term portfolio strategy. Right? I just simply allocate funds every Monday into assets that I believe will perform quite well. Currently, and I'm not trying to show my bags right here, but if I look over at my whiteboard, I will share with you guys what is currently in my portfolio. We do have, for the large caps, of course, we have Bitcoin and Ethereum. Right now, we currently have, of course, a Blockstack, which is probably my 4th largest holding. Prior to Blockstack, we do have, let me see where we buffed there. Actually, it's Kronos. CRO is my 3rd largest holding right now. It's just the way that it happened to become. I had a lot of MCO when they first launched, and I converted that MCO into CRO. I'm not really big on the Kronos chain. I'm not really doing anything over there, honestly, but I do hold a lot of CRO, and I have it in the crypto earn feature on the crypto.com app, and it's just continued to grow over time quite well. So that's my 3rd largest holding. Then Blockstack, where I am stacking my stacks. So I utilize the Hero wallet to lock up my STX and earn more STX. You actually earn Bitcoin, but they market sell the Bitcoin and buy STX, and they reward you with STX. And I am using Freya's pool for STX. I'm delegating my STX to Freya or Fridgers or whatever. I'll look at the information if you guys are interested in it. Kronos, Cardano. Then we have Atom. We have Atom. Cosmos is probably my 5th largest holding. After that, we have Polkadot. After that, we have Cardano. I'm just looking up on my investment whiteboard over here, guys. And after that, we have now Pulse, PLS, my sacrifice for PLS, and then Lendflare DAO, the Lendflare DAO token, and Stargate Finance are my low cap picks right now. Following down below that, we have some Osmo and Juno on the Cosmos chain. And then finally, rounding all that out, we have, where is it? Hard to see my whiteboard from right here. And then after that, it's stablecoins, right? So right now, I'm most heavily in stablecoins, and yeah. Okay, let's see here. Chris Hinshaw, logging into the Crypto.com app daily to claim missions is a chore. It is. Profit Bear, we've got Deepak, we've got Chris Hinshaw. I think I already mentioned you, but Profit Bear, Jordan Stotts. Quick question here. Mr. Ether is hedged in 1x short. Jordan Stotts asks if I use any ratios to Bitcoin to make a trade. Example, ZAO to BTC. You know, so for the longest time, I traded, of course, well, I've been in this space for a long time. So previously, I would mostly trade BTC pairs. And back in 2019, 2020, we were making a lot of content, and there was this question of about, you know, what's the better pair to trade? Should you trade USDT pairs? Should you trade BTC pairs? And you know, I wrestled with this for a long time, and I've actually got a lot of content. If you guys are premium subscribers, there are a ton of videos in our Google Drive, mentoring sessions where we discuss this concept in depth. Should you trade BTC pairs? Should you trade USDT pairs? And my firm belief now is that you typically should trade USDT pairs. If you are interested in being a trader, which means you want to take an amount of money and you want to use your ability to time market dynamics or utilize a objective strategy, whether it's indicator based or otherwise, or if you want to just use your discretion and simple strategies to attempt to build that portfolio, I think holding your funds in USDT or stablecoin of your choice, but if you're using major exchanges, it's going to be US dollar tether. I think that's the best way. It allows your funds to be less volatile. You are going to miss out on some of the big gains of holding the majority of your wealth in BTC, as I have done and have done for the longest time. However, it's just a little bit safer, right? It's easier intellectually to manage your positions. It's easier intellectually to position size. And as the market has moved toward the massive liquidity being in USDT pairs, it's just the way you'll often see now. It used to be, BTC quote pairs would launch on new exchanges. So new assets to trade would initially trade. The liquidity pool would be against BTC. And now we're seeing it just almost primarily in USDT. In fact, there's more USDT pairs that you can trade than BTC. So, over the last year or so, I've definitely moved more toward USDT trading, especially just with the advent of the infrastructure that allows and supports that. So for example, right now I'm doing almost all my trading exclusively on Bybit USDT perpetual contracts. So, all right, with that being said, back into the weekly scans. Okay, so bottom feeder signal is still active here. We do have that stop loss down at 37,555 and that upside target at 52,298. Sitting through some drawdown right now, but we will see how this signal plays out in the long run. Do I see any trade setups here for BTC on the weekly? Okay, we've got a couple things here that are interesting. All right. So as we can see here, Minx never really got positive. Minx never really climbed its way back above the zero line. So Minx never calling for a real long, so for a weekly trending long here on the weekly time frame. Time transformation did about the same time that bottom feeder got faked out. And as we can see here, we don't have any except we're not really going to look at Wadatar explosion, but we don't really have any indications here that we are going to be significantly trending to the downside. Also, I will say that with a few exceptions, Wadatar is on this time frame, anyways, for Bitcoin as well, is not really fantastic unless if you're looking for a rising explosion level. It often just comes in a little too late. The market just moves a little too fast. So we either need to adjust our settings here, which you guys absolutely can. You can optimize it for the weekly time frame, or you just tend to need to ignore this, right? If you're looking for weekly setups, or just use it slightly different. I typically do not use Wadatar on the weekly time frame. It's really designed the way that I have the settings for the daily. But I don't really see anything here. I don't really see any good trade setups on the weekly time frame. Of course, the option is there. Of course, you could view this as a breaking down below the 55, the 21, losing all those moving averages, and expecting and anticipating price to eventually make its way down here. I just feel like we will have more of a sustained bounce, so the opportunity for a better entry is there. So I'm not seeing any overbought or oversold conditions right here. And I'm also not seeing any Minx continuation signals here to the downside where Minx crosses underneath the signal line right here, or the noise line, excuse me. So I don't really see anything here for BTC on the weekly. All right, we continue to see falling volume throughout this consolidation period. So I would want to see a blast of volume come in before I'm considering taking a weekly position to the downside. And especially while this bottom feeder signal is still open, I would still be more interested in taking price to the upside over time. So we'll just see how this consolidation period plays out, which way we eventually break out of this range, and which direction we're going to be heading. And until then, I'll be utilizing the daily time frame to actually time some positions, and assuming that we're just going to be back in range trading mode here on the daily time frame. So looking for overbought and oversold opportunities. And again, I don't see any of that on the weekly time frame. All right, so let's move on to Ethereum now. All right. Ethereum respects key levels a little bit more than Bitcoin in my experience. So looking at Ethereum, the first thing I want to look for is, well, we don't have any overbought or oversold conditions on Ethereum. The last time we had those oversold or conditions on Ethereum were over here on January 22nd. And then over here on May 7th, which both led to weekly bounces right here. This last one a little bit more sustained, 3 weekly up candles, as opposed to just 1 weekly up candle and then an opportunity to take profit right here. So not really seeing any trading opportunities. We don't have time transformation crossing underneath the signal line, so not really calling for either a weekly sell or a short position. It is interesting to note, of course, that with Bitcoin as well, Minx is still a negative right here. So overall, Minx is still calling for Minx is not looking for upside here until Minx crosses back above that 0 line. Minx is still warning us that overall price is bearish and we should be cautious here. Now, same with Bitcoin. We do have the overall support down here of the 100 exponential moving average, which we have not lost yet. And if we're able to bounce here, that would look nice because that would be a bounce off the weekly 55 exponential moving average. Overall, in this area, I would want to see price put in a little bit of upside potential or get a daily oversold signal before I'm interested in being a buyer here again. So for Ethereum, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. All right, moving over to, let's now go to our Bybit chart. And let's just go down my weekly watch list right here. All right, AAVE and most other major cryptocurrencies coming off a big weekly buy signal down here. We did get big altcoin buy signals, a big altcoin buy signals that were very profitable to trade, both bottom feeder, kind of accumulating on these dips right here. And then time transformation really coming in with the clench here on the weekly time frame. Now for AAVE, we're going to go to the Binance chart right here. For AAVE here, we can see that we did reject from the 55 weekly exponential moving average, have not formed, and again, sad to say, but we did form another lower high here, guys. So it is possible that this downside trend will just continue with these altcoins. We did get that oversold. And again, a big buy right here. We haven't seen this much weekly buying in AAVE since back here in May 2021, which unfortunately, as we can see, did mark the market top. However, it was followed with this huge, massive weekly sell candle. And of course, this was the summer slump, the 50% correction back in 2021, where the entire market dipped 50% before rallying again to make new all-time highs, at least in Bitcoin. So overall here on AAVE, I do see that the market is downtrending, continuing to make lower highs. We did take this weekly long position and made some good profit from this position right here. So we'll stick to the daily time frame to kind of manage that position. But overall here, looking at AAVE, unfortunately, I would have to anticipate a little bit more downside here. We don't have that crossover yet, but I think this weekly close would confirm it. And let's go look and see how well those have worked out. So in this downtrend, how well have time transformation weekly crossovers work? So we have one here, we have one here, we have one here, and we are potentially going to have one here. So watching for that weekly cross under to the downside has every single time previously during AAVE's weekly history here on Binance led to some significant downside potential here. So be watching for that signal. And of course, Minx is still telling us that, hey, the market is bearish, guys. So we should be looking at AAVE to trade to the downside here. Weekly signal would confirm on this time transformation cross under. That's how I'd be looking at rejection from resistance right here, continued lower high. And then if we get this confirmed cross under, we could take AAVE to the downside. All right. Same with Cardano here. Let's check out Cardano. First off, we do see that Minx is negative, so we should be on the weekly time frame here looking for downside trades. Again, nice weekly buy signal coming in here with regular bullish divergence, so that did lead to this nice movement to the upside. Rejection from the 21 exponential moving average on the weekly time frame, which has previously been support, and as we can see here, has acted as resistance on every bounce up here from Cardano. Good to see you, B-Flow. Hey, Mud. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, so looking at Cardano here, this does not look great, guys. Now, of course, what we could see, and I want to kind of preface this, right? We are looking at, again, just like AAVE here, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, rejection from the continual point of resistance, and now looking for that weekly cross and potential continuation on this weekly candle to the downside. Now, it is possible that we are going to, it's very hard to predict market bottoms and tops, guys. But a couple things do happen. If we see over the next couple of weeks a higher low here, and then price begins moving back up, then we could potentially be looking to be buyers here, right? And expecting, again, a more sustained rally to the upside, coming off these big weekly buy signals in the altcoin markets, as well as Bitcoin kind of leading the charge here. But statistically, we kind of want to look at the way the market has been doing and just trade in that direction. So again, I think looking for that weekly time transformation crossover right there, cross under, and looking for more downside here on Cardano, unfortunately, does seem to be the play here. All right, Algorand. Algorand's still coming off these big bottom feeder signals right here. Let's actually go to the Binance chart on Algorand so we can get a little bit more history here. Yeah, so bottom feeder still looking for a price target of $1.10, but let's take that off for just a second and see what's been happening in the markets. Again, Algorand in a downtrend since reaching its market high in September of 2021. We did come down to previous support right here, down around the 75-cent level. Put in that weekly buy signal here on time transformation, pushed up, rejection from the 100 exponential moving average. It's hard to see, guys. Let me make that white instead of black. Sorry. Let's make that white instead of black and save that as my default. Make sure that my 200 SMA is okay. Good. So we can see here that the 100 simple moving exponential moving average was acting as support back here in early 2022. We did descend from that, put in this weekly time transformation signal, bounced up, rejected from the 100. So this is previous support. It wasn't really support, but it would try to hold as support. It broke. But this is previous half-ass support confirmed as new resistance. And now we are back down at those weekly lows. So I really only see one of two things occurring from here. And as we can see, ALGO is giving us that weekly cross under right here that will confirm at the end of the week. So anything can happen in a week, but it does look like we will be getting more downside here from Algorand unless we're able to form a double bottom and kick up off. And we'll be able to view that on the daily time frame. But the weekly here is hinting, unfortunately, at more downside continuation for all the major crypto assets that we've looked at so far. Let's take a look at Cosmos now. Cosmos, one of my long-term holds. All right, again, we'll look at the Binance chart. What's happening with Cosmos? All right, unlike the other assets, Cosmos does not seem to be in a downtrend. All right, so Cosmos has obviously been on a fantastic tear lately. What we have formed here does seem to be a double top. We currently have rejected from that. We are trading a little bit higher than our previous low dip down here around the $22.15 area. We did wick down to about $20.18. But unfortunately, we do have that time transformation cross under. And if we go and take a look at when that's occurred before here, and we did have more weekly downside, of course, it occurred over here at the market top, cross under, and we did have more downside right here. And also, if we look at Minx, Minx has now drifted into the negative zone. So Minx is overall hinting at downside. If we look at Wadatar Explosion too, we are getting a weekly sell signal from Wadatar Explosion right here. We've got a rising explosion level indicating that volatility is expanding in the marketplace. We also have this rising delta column right here, so indicating downside. We're about to lose the 55 exponential moving average as well. So we are currently trading below it, and that has been support twice. So we've tested this level of support twice, and we can see that this was the level of support back over here. Ultimately, price not able to even when we did close below it. Price unable to breach below the 100 exponential moving average. So losing the 55, certainly a movement down to $19.64 here. So unfortunately for the long-term holders for Cosmos, the market is indicating downside. And also I want to point out here too, look, Cosmos might be a fantastic shorting opportunity here, because if we look at what's going on with Cosmos price, we can kind of view this as a large distribution area. While the rest of the market has been downtrending, Cosmos has moved sideways. And while you might view that as a sign of strength, and it could potentially be a sign of strength if price moves up, right? This is one of those things where hindsight, you need price to move before you can really determine. We can see here that for very similar to accumulation, right? So if you go look at any cryptocurrency chart, you'll see something like this, right? You will see the market move sideways for an extended period of time, and then a rally will ensue. And sometimes that sideways is very volatile and lasts a long time, and sometimes it's very short and very tight in a very tight range. And the thing you need to understand about the way the market moves is that there has to be a narrative, there has to be an incentive for individuals who are buying low prices to not sell as soon as they experience a little bit of profit and move the market back down into equilibrium. Now, of course, the free market does play a massive role in this. There does have to be genuine organic demand for a sustained rally, meaning that buyers need to continually come in at higher and higher prices, meaning demand is rising. People are willing to pay higher and higher prices for this asset, for a rally, a bull run, as we call it, to continue and to sustain itself. And in my experience, the length of accumulation is directly proportional to how long the rally can sustain itself, all right? Because that just means that there's more buying that has occurred at those low prices, and there's a higher incentive for individuals to hold for longer periods of time, as long as the narrative and as long as the overall market health will support that narrative. So very similarly, for price to move down significantly, there has to be a period of distribution. And this is typically at a point when all early investors, or the majority of them, have decided that they are at their opportune profit level. Now, they can't just market sell. They can't just empty their bags, because that would crash price and they would end up just completely defeating the purpose of having held on for that long. So they need to incentivize individuals to come in and buy at these prices, which they, listen, if you're buying up here, these people down here are selling to you, okay? You are the exit liquidity for early investors if you're buying at high prices. Now, if you are in the right area of the market, then that can be totally fine. For example, early investors here did, of course, sell here, and that was exit liquidity for some of them. But then there was another period of accumulation, and the market continued to move up. So it was totally fine if you bought here. The narrative was on your side. The market continued to move up. Even similar to people who bought here, if they sat through this correction, the narrative was on their side, the market continued to move up. That can, of course, happen again. The narrative could be on your side as a buyer here, and the market could continue to move up. However, this does overall look, especially in light of the overall market right now, like an area of distribution, which would be necessary before a more significant move to the downside. So we will just see with Cosmos here how things play out. However, we do have this weekly crossover. We'll confirm on this weekly close. So if the weekly does close like this, we could be looking at least an initial short-term downside target of about $19.59, right at the 100 exponential moving average. But yeah, that's relatively negative. Okay. So because of that, what we're going to do here is we're going to put Adam on the weekly watch list, and we're going to continue on, and we're going to look at Avalanche. All right, so Avalanche on the weekly time frame looks eerily similar to Cosmos right here, guys. So as we can see, Minx is still in the positive territory. Avalanche has, of course, been on an incredible run ever since listing on Binance. And prior to that, of course, the Avalanche chain is very strong. A lot of great projects being built out on the Avalanche network. Now, I personally am not very experienced with the Avalanche network. I haven't done a lot of work over there. I, of course, am relatively familiar with the Phantom network. I'm familiar with the Kronos chain, even though I haven't done too much on there. I am very familiar with the Ethereum chain. But I'm more familiar, honestly, with the Cosmos chain. I do believe and like Cosmos long term, and regardless of my previous analysis, I will continue to hold Cosmos for the long run, because that's the decision that I've made as a cryptocurrency investor. I hold my long term holdings for a long term. So some concerning things here about Avalanche, though. Again, we have that weekly cross under of time transformation, which we'll confirm on this weekly close. So we're a week away. A lot can happen in a week, guys. But every other time, let's see here. So we do have this weekly sell signal. It does lead to 1 week of downside, but the narrative was on your side there. As you can see, we're still above all our moving averages right there. Relatively strong. Price continues to move up. We get the weekly crossover here. We have 3 weeks of upside following that, more drawdown. Finally, we have a good weekly sell signal here, where we've lost the 8 exponential moving average, and the 13 price does plunge all the way down to the 55 weekly exponential moving average here. We have a period of sideways consolidation. We've made another lower high right here. So another lower high. And again, confirmed cross under. We're about to get a cross under on Minx as well. So Minx obviously called this quite well, gave the sell signal here and didn't cross. Did it cross back over? Nope, didn't cross back over, hinted at it. But Minx told you to sell Avalanche right here at about $86. And, you know, price eventually after about 2 months moved down to about 53. So good potential profit there from Minx. All right, about 40% profit on that potential short trade right here. We also have, unfortunately, sell side initiation, not a rising explosion level. So this range has not completely broke down. However, this does at an initial glance look like distribution to me, guys. The market is overall moving sideways. We're forming lower highs. We're drifting lower and lower to a previous level of support. So unless we get a market turnaround, I would expect a price of about $61 on Avalanche in the short term here, and potentially lower if these sell side signals do play out. So protect yourselves there, guys, and just be prepared from that. The other possibility here, of course, is that the narrative turns around in the market. We do form somewhat like a W pattern here, something like this. And then we can break out above $102 right there. But until then, it just seems like we're back to the chop with a lean to the downside. All right. So hopefully you guys made money on these altcoin rallies because it does look like they are giving it back currently right now. So with that in mind, I'm also going to bookmark Avalanche to continue looking at a little bit later as well. Let's go look at Dogecoin. What's the narrative on Dogecoin? Will Dogecoin ever pump again? Let's go to the Binance chart. Yeah, this is not great, guys. So obviously Doge, long period of accumulation and this massive spike to the upside. We've just been in this downtrend since we reached the all-time high, excuse me, back in May of 2021. No recovery from Dogecoin here. Of course, Dogecoin, excuse me, is coming off that same strong weekly buy signal from time transformation that did lead us all the way up to retest the 55 exponential moving average. But ever since we've lost that level, it has just been clutch for us as resistance, guys. So big weekly doji right here. You know, big volume candle. All these big volume spikes have signified the end of the rally. And now we've got price drifting back down to the downside. So I would not be long on Dogecoin here. I would be even potentially short from here. Listen, I know a lot of my friends made a lot of money off Dogecoin. I made money off Dogecoin. But it's not the future. It's not anything. It's a social meme, and the narrative in cryptocurrency has moved on. It's not meme coins anymore, guys. You have to you're like Cosmos because you're out of this world, bro. Thank you so much, man. I do think that the narrative in cryptocurrency has shifted. I don't think that meme coins are going to have another day in the sun. So yeah, Dogecoin looks like garbage. So again, we need to see some form of a double bottom and price, and I need to see the narrative switch somehow, but I'm just not seeing it. Minx remains negative, letting us know that we should be short on this asset, and we just simply trade with the trend, and life is good for us, guys. So Dogecoin does not look great here. I think if we lose the 100 exponential moving average again, we can probably see another lower low. So based on that, I'm going to bookmark Dogecoin and potentially be setting up. Sorry, man. Potentially be setting up for a weekly short here on Dogecoin. All right, Polkadot. Okay, what's the narrative here with Polkadot? Unfortunately, just same thing here, guys. We can see here level of distribution, downside, market moves up. Not really perfect distribution. Distribution doesn't always have to be sideways, but again, we can see a little bit of rising volume here as the market moves down. We just got falling volume and falling volume. And typically, guys, if you look at when the market turns around, the market typically doesn't turn around until you see rising volume, which indicates that a lot of people are buying. But the market is just continuing to dip here, guys, and just as we speak too right now. So Polkadot came back up, made a slightly higher high to the previous high that we made over the summer of 2021. 50% decline right here, actually a little bit more, I think, from Polkadot, like a 70% decline. Market came up, made a slightly higher high, and just simply rejected. Tried to hold itself at the 55 weekly exponential moving average, rejected. Weekly buy signal right here again from time transformation. Market moved back up, rejection from the 55, and now we've got bearish engulfing candle and continued downside. So unless we see Support right here, right around 1682, hold price up. I would expect lower prices, guys. This is exactly what we saw right here. We can see the market moved sideways, tried to rally, rejected from the 21, came back down to support and just broke right through it, guys. So here we got support again. Market rallied up, rejection from the 21 exponential moving average and the 55, bearish engulfing candle, and the market's coming down to support. And again, it just repeats like it's going to do. Dot's just going to tear right through it, guys. So don't be exit liquidity here, guys. Be smart. Mr. Ether Robert Warner sold everything for Dogecoin. Hey, man. Got to keep that dream alive. Got to keep the dream alive. Yeah, so Polkadot looks terrible to me too here, guys, as well. All right, let's check out Phantom. What's the narrative with Phantom here? Phantom looks bad. Yeah. So obviously Phantom overperformed massively last year and throughout 2020, throughout 2021. What do we have here? What does it seem to be, guys? What has the market been doing? Oh, it looked like it's moving sideways, and now it seems to be breaking down. Okay. We got an oversold. Time transformation came in oversold territory here on the weekly time frame. The market did bounce, but as we can see here, after we lost the 21 exponential moving average, acting as resistance again, bearish engulfing weekly candle. And coming back down to test the level of support. Now, we do have that 100 exponential moving average. This will be the first time we've really significantly tested it. But if the rest of the market is any indication, we are likely to just blow right through that and get sub $1 prices on Phantom, which could be relatively bad for the ecosystem. So Phantom as well, I think looks like a short here, guys, on the weekly time frame. Okay, let's take a look at Luna. What's going on? Do I got some lunatics in the house with me today? Luna USDT on Binance. Okay, I drew this level of resistance just a while ago. Well, I don't know. It must have been a few weeks ago here. What do we see? We see the market moving up on falling volume, makes a slightly higher high, bearish engulfing weekly candle. Now, obviously, Luna is an overperforming asset. It's been doing quite well. So I'm going to be a little hesitant on calling the top here on Luna. I will simply point out that we do have bearish regular divergence that is now playing out. We'll actually confirm on this candle. Minx is also about to give us a cross under in overbought territory. So overall, the technicals are not looking too hot for Luna, and the market does seem to be showing that. So movement back up into resistance, rejection from that level of resistance. So we've just got our EMAs right here. And as we can see, those EMAs, once we lose them, don't really account for much. So unfortunately, I have to put Luna into the looking toppy sector as well. So we'll see here. MATIC, what's the layer 2 for Ethereum doing here? MATIC here as well, guys. Weekly buy signal from time transformation. Market moved up to the 21, unable to hold above it. Bearish engulfing candle, right back down at support. Yeah, right back down at support, guys. So everything looks like it's about to just fall through the absolute bottom right here, guys. This is not great. ZERP, what's the narrative with XRP USD here? Binance. Okay, XRP USDT. Binance narrative right here. We now have on, let's actually, can we just go to XRP USD like on Bitstamp? Let's just get a lot of, there we go. What's the narrative here for XRP, guys? You know, XRP is a little interesting here. XRP is a little uncorrelated from the rest of the market. So XRP in that sense is a relatively interesting asset to trade. You know, I've traded XRP a bunch, not too much over the last year or two, just a few times. But what do we have here? Again, weekly time transformation buy signal led to this up thrust to the 21 exponential moving average. We consolidated, we pulled back, found support at the 100 EMA, went for another move to the upside, double top here and movement down. And now we're breaking down below that weekly 100 exponential moving average here as well. So let's take a look at our indicators, see what they have to say here also. Yeah, so we've had hidden bearish divergence playing out. We already got that weekly cross under last week. Should have took the short last week. As we can see, Minx has been bearish this whole time, looking for downside trades, getting that weekly cross under right here. And now this weekly candle kind of giving us some confirmation. So unfortunately, guys, XRP is like a short now. So XRP is also going on my watch list, and potentially we'll take some action with that later on. So guys, I hate to say it, but the market looks terrible. Jeremiah Johnson, one of my favorite movies. Can you give me the ticker, sir? Because I'm unfamiliar with that token. PSTN. So let's go to Deck Screener. The narrative is wrecked. Okay, so we've got a, what do we got here? We've got a nano cap. We've got a $10 million market capitalization here for this Piston token. You know, also, 14 reports today. That's not great. Here's the thing. So I'm unfamiliar with, with Piston here. We've got a recent launch back here on the 3rd of April. It's had a few pumps. Does not appear to be, just on initial glance, does not appear to be a honeypot. There is selling here apparently. And normally a honeypot would just go up and up and up and up. So just full disclaimer, guys, I'm not recommending this token. I know nothing about this token. We're just gonna take a glance. All right. Price 10 to 28. All right. So you do have, it's not, it's $100 worth of buys coming in right here at support. And with tokens like this, listen, I want to make this kind of clear. I don't think I say this enough. When we look at assets with a really large market capitalization like XRP or BTC or Ethereum or Litecoin or Polkadot or Cardano or all those things, you can trade them a certain way. You can trade them on centralized massive exchanges, and you can make, again, you can develop a profitable indicator-based strategy, which is my approach, and you can do well. When it comes to the realm of low cap shitcoins, you really have to adopt a different strategy. You can, of course, use technical analysis on lower shitcoins. And honestly, the simple indicator-based strategies actually work quite well here. But a lot of this has to do with narrative, right? A lot of this has to do with liquidity, the narrative of the token, what the team is doing, what's going on in the Discord. Do they have any kind of catalyst coming up? So for Piston, all I see right now is something that is downtrended for a long time. It did reach this level previously. And it did bounce 13%, which, Jesus, not much here. Yeah, so honestly, this thing really hasn't rallied too much, which, again, if the fundamentals are good, could mean good upside potential. Obviously, if this thing was IDO'd and it initially listed for like down here at $2, and now these investors are up 5x, they're just simply taking their profits, and the market will continue to trend down until they reach equilibrium. So this is the kind of research I like to do on tokens like this, like what are the tokenomics, what's the vesting schedule, how much liquidity is locked. So, for example, we could find out. We could go to Unicrypt right here. Go to Unicrypt, and we will grab the ticker. Actually, shoot, Unicrypt has Pancake Swap, don't they? Maybe they don't. Yeah. Pancake swap. Tokens. Here we go. No token locks for this pair. Okay, here we go. Okay, actually, but we do have, all right, never mind. The Piston BUSD has $4.37 million. Locked. Okay, so liquidity is locked. Let's check token sniffer out. Oh, I'm an expert at clicking pictures of boats. Boats, boats, boats. Lightning fast. What? Buses. I'm not good at buses. Oh, sally through though. There we go. All right. Ownership is not renounced. It's got a buy and sell tax of 10%. There is liquidity. And this is just a, yeah. So this is a ripoff token though. So all these, look, it's got one line of code different from all these other tokens. Yeah, this is, there's nothing special here. Do not trade this coin. We've got a request for ANKR. Look at that painted chart. And a request for XPR. Okay. Let's look at ANKR. So listen, guys. Full disclaimer: I bought ANKR. Well, I just took a trade on ANKR. Had a losing trade on ANKR, so that's so I'm salty. I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't care. I take so many trades. Doesn't matter. Let's look at. Can I get a little bit more data on KuCoin? Yeah, here we go. So ANKR protocol on KuCoin. First off, love ANKR protocol. Love the project. But that's different from holding the token. As we can see here in the token, the weekly chart here. Hold on. Let me get a little objective here. Distribution, move down, pump back up to that previous level of resistance. Move down, lower high, guys. Rejection now from the newly formed 55 weekly exponential moving average. Bearish engulfing candle to the downside. This is not great, guys. This is not good. Regular bearish divergence is playing out, continuing to play out. Cross under right over here. And Minx got negative right over here on this weekly candle. And now we're getting downside follow through on ANKR protocol. So yeah, ANKR protocol, unfortunately, now on the weekly time frame, it does appear to be a short. We'll just have to watch and see, do we form a higher low and maybe push back up to retest resistance. But overall, guys, the markets are trending to the downside and they're doing so in a significant way. So we'll see here. But ANKR protocol doesn't look great on the weekly time frame. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, daily here. Again, move to the upside. This was the movement that I bought. I did buy basically right. Oh, no, I bought here. So I had a little bit of upside, but then the market came down, hit my stop loss. And now we're just breaking through that previous level of support right now. Minx is crossing to the downside. We've got Wadatar explosion with a rising explosion level and negative delta. And time transformation is confirming that movement as well. So even on the daily time frame, ANKR protocol is a short. Let's double check the baseline. Yep, broke the baseline right over here. And yeah, guys, ANKR protocol is a short. Bottom feeder is nowhere to be seen. Okay. All right, it is 11:49. We've got a request for near and we've got a request for XPR. Okay. So near protocol, it seems to be near season. Okay. So if you're in the low cap section, or if you're trading shitcoins, then the near ecosystem and the Cosmos ecosystem right now seem to be booming. Okay. Aurora just launched recently on near. This is their Ethereum virtual machine compatible sidechain, basically. So now the near ecosystem is quote unquote compatible with EVM dApps and protocols. So pretty cool, pretty bullish for Near. Near's obviously done very well, but I've got my chart right here, and we'll talk about Near. So right now, we have a lower high on Near. We have this big weekly high volume candle. Volume often indicates the tops and bottoms of markets, guys. So we don't yet have that bearish engulfing weekly candle from Near that would confirm its breakdown. And we do have these downside targets right here, and this current level of support where we would expect to see a bounce. But overall, I do feel, listen, I don't want to trade against the narrative of Near here, but it's kind of one of those buy the rumor, sell the news types events. And it doesn't really matter how good the project is. You can't fight against the drift of the market. A rising tide lifts all boats, but a falling tide sinks all ships. So Near protocol on the weekly here does look very toppy, right? We've got this big volume candle that just came in. It's a big doji, big wick to the upside. We haven't had that continuation to the downside yet. So it is possible that Near bucks the trend here, begins moving up, does some crazy shit. We are, of course, in the positive territories right here. So for this type of trade, we do have to predict a reversal, right? So what we can do here is just completely wait on the sidelines, wait for some objective indication that we're actually right, which in this case could be Minx crossing under the zero line, which could be time transformation crossing underneath the zero line, Wadatar explosion giving us a bearish signal. But right now, looking at this weekly candle with this big volume spike and the wick to the upside, this does not look fantastic. So we do, of course, have downside targets all the way down here. We're looking at about a 40% potential drop here in Near, unless it bucks the system, unless it bucks the trend and continues moving to the upside. But I've been relatively consistent on my approach for Near since last week. So that's Near here. Going down to the daily, see something similar. Just again, big double bottom right here. Daily time transformation buy signals leading to this big massive rally. Sell signal on Near right here. Regularish bearish divergence now playing out on the daily time frame. What appears to be a little bit of distribution. So overall price moving kind of sideways here in this level of distribution. Can this last for a while? Absolutely. Price on the daily is back down pretty much at previous support right here. Maybe we bounce a little bit here on the daily and trade in this range, maybe even go for a little bit of a higher high. But overall on the weekly, it does look like we are attempting to reject from this level. We'll get that Minx cross under right here. Did get faked out on the previous signal, but then we got it right here. Get that cross under right here on the daily time frame. So a good strategy for something like this is to either take a long-term bet that price is going to decline on the Near protocol, or just simply wait. Just simply wait for price to actually turn bearish and enter into a bearish trend. If we look at our exponential moving averages, we are still above our 21 exponential moving average, so we haven't lost that yet. So we've still got our slower moving averages below us. So we are still in the band. We've seen pullbacks to this 21 before on this bull cycle right here. Parabolic move to the upside, a little bit of sideways, and then a second up thrust. So while we have not gone parabolic yet, markets moved up. Now we are attempting to move sideways. You could wait for this breakdown and then trade the retest is a decent way to do it as well. Okay, so XPR was next. So we will take a look at XPR. Let's check out KuCoin over here. Yeah. This does not look great either, guys. However, I will say that this looks okay. So market reached a high in October of 2021. We've been downtrending ever since then. We got this weekly buy signal on time transformation that came in right here on January 25th, 2022. And then again on the 25th of February. So 1 month apart, right? Or 1 month apart right here. This is the daily time frame. After that move at a little bit of downside and then it's nice pump, a little bit of downside and then this nice pump, continued pump, sell signal came in on the daily time frame right over here on the 29th of March. Regular bearish divergence played out and confirmed on the 5th of April. And we've just had downside. We are back at one level of support right here. Falling volume, so I don't see that increase. Minx is now turning into the bear zone. Although time transformation is getting relatively close to oversold territory. So I think we could actually see a bounce on Proton right here over the next couple of days. The daily does seem like we're starting to get oversold. But Minx is drifting into the zero territory right here, or the negative bearish control zone. So I would be hesitant. Don't really see a good trade here, guys. The trade I could see is if we actually get time transformation into the oversold territory here and do a crossover, I could see a movement back up to about this area right here. And then based on this, unless we continue up, I would likely look at that area for a retest short to take price down. So the baseline on here, yeah, baseline called for a short on this candle right here. And here as well, you could have taken it. All right, let me know what you guys are doing in the chat. Any other chart requests? What are you guys watching? What are you guys looking at? We've been going for about an hour. Monero. Monero is interesting. Weekly buy signal leading to a rally. Cross under. And we drift into the negative control zone. Monero is trying to break out on the weekly time frame here, guys. We spent a lot of time down here. We got this oversold condition on Minx and then a nice cross up to the upside. Minx is attempting to cross above the zero line right now, and I would expect yeah, so interesting. So Monero is back up at this previous level of resistance. Got a little bit of a double bottom action here on the weekly, attempting to form something like a W pattern, and we're attempting to break out from that right now. So Monero, I think, will be good. So right here, as you guys can see, previous resistance came up and tested it again. We're currently selling off from that. If we trade above 237 on Monero, I'm actually going to set an alert right now for Monero. We trade above 237 on Monero, then I would look for that breakout trade. Similarly, if we're able to come down here and hold either the 55 or the 100, and then we see the weekly Heikin-Ashi turn, well, it stays green, that'd be fantastic. But if we either see a green candle, or if the daily gives us some signal here, I would be a buyer here on Monero. Otherwise, if we lose those levels, then this will just be a retest of resistance and a rejection. And I would be more bearishly inclined if we were seeing a bearish engulfing candle, but Monero seems to be holding up quite well despite all the market negativity right now. So hey, Mac, good to see you, my friend. Jibble says, as mentioned last week in the BTC pattern, from the weeks 25th July 2018 to August 4th. Looks like it's playing out again. You did mention that, man. You did mention that. Chris Hinshaw asks, for coins in my portfolio, do I like to use the different projects on that blockchain or mainly research what the projects are? Well, you know, like in the early days, it was simply just researching what the projects are. Now, I mean, there's a lot to do. So, for example, Luna led me into UST, which led me to the ANKR protocol. Cosmos led me to staking Atom, also led me to grabbing Osmo and Juno. Chronos led me to the Crypto.com app, where I can lock up in the Crypto Earn platform my Chronos, and led me to the bigger, MCO card. Basically, it's the Crow card now, I guess, that I kind of use on a daily basis. Honestly, I love that thing. Oh, Unibright, blue box territory. Yeah, I made Unibright was a decent trade for me. Held that for a little over a year. Made a video about that, Reflections of a Crypto Trader. Unibright, USDT on Bittrex. Because it does not trade against USDT on Bittrex. Oh, I guess it doesn't. Trades against Bitcoin. Let's look at the US dollar. I don't see it signaling on the US dollar. And it's also not signaling on the Bitcoin pairing either. You know, we are pretty deeply oversold here on the daily time frame. So we might see a bit of a bounce. On the weekly, you can see same thing here. We had this weekly buy signal, price pushed up. We came back down to support. But I don't really see the narrative here for Unibright. This is going to be our 1, 2, 3, 4th, 5th retest of the support. And look at this. Look at this sideways period of distribution, guys. Look at that. Yeah, that's ouch. Yeah, guys. Unibright could potentially give a bounce here. But if we look, we're not anywhere near oversold on the weekly at all. And we've tested the support a bunch, and the overall trend of the market seems to be to the downside. So Unibright, this does not look like a good price to buy Unibright, my friend. Dreadful chart, dude. Dreadful chart, man. Our Gun de Boyna, by the way, thanks so much for joining the YouTube community there as a member. Highly appreciate the support, my friend. What are your thoughts on ANKR Network? Let's check out the ticker. I mean, unfortunately, this is kind of more of the same. ANKR has pretty much been moving sideways in what looks like a distributive range since it's reached this all-time high on the 22nd of March. We are approaching support again. We've tested it once, twice, 3, 4. Again, this will be the 5th test of support with falling volume. Minx is in the negative territory here. Time transformation just rejected from 0 with a confirmed cross under on this weekly close. So this weekly close would confirm a bearish sentiment or ANKR. Looking at average weekend volatility here. Looking at 5 cents and 2 cents for potential targets here, guys. Yeah. Our Wadatar explosions signaling positive delta here as well, or negative delta. Hell, even Minx is about to cross back under here on ANKR. So we need a broader market bounce for any of these coins to survive. Alex, 123, good to see you over there, my friend. You know, listen, there's not a person I loved more than Crypto Jack. He is now an NFT billionaire, as far as I know, and living the life of luxury in sunny California. So yeah, we wish him the best. All right, guys, we are going to, we've gone for an hour. I've got a lot of work I got to do on the website today. So we're going to switch over to the DSLR. And we will end the stream for today, guys. So let's do the outro. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update, brought to you by KrakenCryptocurrency.com. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all the chart requests, the support, the thoughts, the insight. You guys are always an amazing audience, and I enjoy doing this. Before we leave, of course, the necessary self-promotion. You cannot make it in the space if you do not self-promote. If you guys enjoy the content, if you guys enjoy the analysis, if you guys would like to learn to trade the way that I trade in particular, or use my indicators that I utilize, you guys can join the premium trading group, where you will have access to my buy and sell signals, as well as our premium suite of technical indicators and access to our online learning academy, including our Pathways to Profit course, which is designed to teach you how to build an objective indicator strategy from the ground up, how to backtest it, and how to push it forward into the live markets. Also gives you access to our private Discord, where you can trade and interact with a community of traders to help you learn and grow in the cryptocurrency markets. Not if. That's it. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys, of course, for watching. If you enjoyed the show or the stream, make sure to show your support by sharing it around, smashing the like button, or subscribing on whatever platform you happen to be watching us from. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. in the middle of the country, and of course, 11 o'clock in the morning up here in the mountains for me, for another episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Make sure to join the Discord if you have not already. Links down in the description for everything you could possibly need. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, hot stock tips, and or death threats, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. Trade safely, guys.